All right, so if you were watching the last video, you watched me struggle with this error code here, this dead code elimination that has not been applied. And so what I don't know is whether or not this is really a problem with my code or whether or not this is something that was brought in from the scratch-gui that I'm trying to implement. But what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to ask for help. So I don't really know what the problem is. I've done some research trying to figure out what's going on and what I can do with tree shaking, but for now, I'm not totally sure where the issue is coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to try just bringing down the scratch-gui all by itself, building that, and then seeing if it's an issue with the scratch-gui application, because if that's true, then what I can do is I can create an issue with the scratch-gui. So I'm actually going to first resolve the other issue that I have there, because I think that could have been a problem that was just specific to me. So I'm going to go back to the LLK scratch-gui, and I'm going to go back to issues, and I'm going to close the one that I opened up. So, oh, nope, not a new issue, not yet. I'm going to search. So I'm going to say, thanks U2. I'm not sure that I have narrowed this down to be specific enough to receive help. I'll close this and open a new issue with a more specific question, if I can. Thank you, and then I will close and comment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clone down their code, spin it up, build it, and then see if I'm still getting that issue with development. So here I'm going to open up a new tab, I'm going to cd to desktop, and I'm going to git clone the project down. Oh, and I'm getting that error that scratch-gui already exists, so I'm going to make dir test GUI. I'm going to cd into test GUI, and now I'm going to try to git clone again. So git clone. All right, so what I'm going to do is cd into the test GUI, or cd into the scratch GUI, build the scratch GUI, run the build on the static server, and see if that still experiences the same issue. Because if it does, then it means it's probably not related to any of the code I've written, and then creating an issue on it will allow me to be more specific. So again, if this is the first video you're watching, probably not a whole lot of code that I'm actually going to write, because I'm currently working through a bug that I'm trying to figure out. So this is where I spend a decent amount of my development time, is just figuring out these bugs one by one and knocking them out until I can move on to the next thing. So what I will do if I don't get this bug fixed, and I probably won't, I'll just create the issue and then hope for a response in the next couple of days. But what I will do is I'll move on to a new feature, but that'll probably be in the next video. So really what I'm going to focus on in this video is just how to create an issue on a project that you would like to help to make better. And the scratch-gui is a project I actually like a lot. I've made commits to it before. I've made pull requests and had those accepted, which is pretty exciting, and I think their team is pretty great. So I'm going to try and make an issue here that's worth them analyzing and looking at without wasting their time if it's just a personal issue of my own. So I'm going to try and get this working here first before I create an issue for it. So I'm inside of scratch-gui, and what I'm going to do now is npm run build. Oops, I need to spell that correctly, npm run build. And actually, before I do that, let me open this up in Visual Studio Code and make sure that the build folder isn't there. I shouldn't have any sort of build folder. I don't. Okay. So npm run build. Oh, maybe I need an npm install first. Npm install. And this will take a minute because it's a pretty big project. But after this, that npm install is going to bring in all of the node modules that I need. Then I'm going to npm run build, which should create the build folder, which still doesn't exist. So the node modules folder is created here, but the build folder still doesn't exist. So that's the one I'm going to be creating when I run npm run build. And then I'll run that on a static file server with serve-s build. And then from there, I should be able to check out the localhost and see if I'm still getting those error messages. So I'm going to close out of everything else, close all the other tabs, and just leave myself with the scratch-gui one open, and then it should tell me which port I can open up the project on after I run the build. Yeah, so the problem it had here was rimref command not found, and I would hope that that's a part of the package.json rimref. A decent number of technologies in here that I'm not super familiar with, but it seems like rimref is a package that's being brought in that's going to help me with my build process. rimref./build and make directory build, and then take the distribution folder. Yeah, and I'm not really sure what rimref is. I might search that one up later. So here I'm going to say npm run build. And now I shouldn't have that error anymore, hopefully. And it looks like we are getting a build folder. So this one's grayed out because it's in the git ignore, but now it should be building. And I don't know if I'll get the production version. But let's see what we do get. So maybe this will just be the straight development version. Maybe this will just be the development version. All right, we're going to serve-s build. And there we go. It's on localhost 5000. Let's check that out. Localhost 5000. And I am. Oh, no, this is not the project that I'm working on right now. That is interesting. So maybe that was the problem all along, was I was looking at a project that I was not in fact working on. Oh, that would be that'd be very interesting. So here with the scratch-gui, it looks like I'm no longer getting that error. So I am getting a different error. I wonder if that one is something they're aware of. Play request interrupted by call to pause. Play request. Interrupted. Yeah, it looks like this one was recognized, but it was closed. Let's see. This is actually in the scratch blocks repo, but we can keep it here until we have an investigation repro. Yep, filed. Okay, all right. So close there, being tracked in upstream Blockly. Okay, so that's a Google Blockly issue. Okay, got it. So that's not their issue, and that's not my issue either. Okay, so it looks like the issue really is with my integration. So I'm glad I didn't make an issue for that because it's with the integration that I am doing. So what I need to do is figure out how to maybe use their build process to build my code. So rather than trying to bring their code into mine, maybe it's about using their code and starting from there. So that's what I'll do. So this is scratch-gui, and maybe that's what I tried to do last time and it just didn't quite work. So I've got this project open, and do I have, yeah, so I've got this project open as well. Okay, so how do I get these two to play nice together? So what I want to do is I want to continue to use what they have, and I want to bring in React Router DOM so that I can have some navigation. So I'm going to ignore this error. This error is something that I'm just going to be okay with, and what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to focus on just getting routing to work. So routing should show up top if everything's good. And I'm going to keep the console open just in case something else happens. I'm going to shrink it down just a little so that I can see things a little bit better. There we go. And I don't need to have the Chrome 66 update stuff there. Okay, so there's my console. And what I want to do is make it so that I can navigate. I can navigate around just a little bit better. So in order to do that, I'm going to branch. I'm going to create a new branch where I'm going to be doing some routing. So this is git checkout -b. This is feature routing. Okay, and now in this feature, I want to add the router. So here I'm going to say npm install react router DOM. So let me take a look at the code that they have. They have source, and I think everything goes through an index somewhere. Static test? Interesting. Integration? No. I'm not looking at their tests. Okay. Components? Maybe, do they have an app component? No. Containers? Maybe it's in containers. Let's just search the files. So Command P in Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to look for index. They got a couple. Let's see, index. Not in playground. Maybe? In playground. Okay, maybe it is this one. So inside of playground. This is EJS. This is a template file. EJS. Sentry error logging. But that's not causing an issue right now. So let's see if that's not causing an issue. Wait, am I getting, okay. I am not getting the build that I want. Okay, so this did not resolve the issue. So I'm not getting the production build. Oh, this is because it's the development build of React. Okay, so I haven't changed the package.json to, or the webpack config to correctly uh, be what I want it to be. And it seems like they've actually updated a few things. They've updated how they are maybe displaying this. Interesting. They've added a few new things. They've added default for the Google Analytics ID, which is kind of neat. And here they're doing a check. So I need to make it so that when I run this, I run it as the production environment. So how do I guarantee that I'm going to run it as the production environment? Okay, so here, rather than grabbing it from the node environment, I'm just going to hard code this as production. So this is going to be the word production. Yes. All right. Okay, so that's hard coded now to be the word production, and debug is going to be false. And let's try this. So we're going to build it again. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this to be blue, for it to say that I'm using the tools correctly as a production version. And it's building those modules right now. And now the app's getting upset, probably because during the build it cleared out all of the other PNGs, and there might be some HTTP requests being made in the background that are erroring out here while the build process is going on. And I wonder if this issue has been logged before. So, well, let's see if we can create the error again. And then we'll check to see if that issue's already been logged. So we're going to npm. No, we're going to serve -s build. No, we're going to serve -s build. Okay, it says it's running on localhost 5000. Give it a try. And that worked. Okay. All right, so something either from the older version or from my code, my previous version, was what was preventing that from correctly building. But this seems to be correctly using the production build of React. Okay. Audio context was not allowed to start. It must be resume or created after a user gesture on the same page. Wow, that is probably an infinite loop that's being created. My computer's working pretty hard right now. So let me go ahead and close out of that. Audio context. Let's try that again, I guess. Localhost 5000. Interesting. must be resumed or created after a user gesture on the page. I don't really want to use the audio context for most of what I'm doing, so maybe that's something I'll end up removing. Audio, well, let's see if that, yeah, audio context. That's something I want to search for. Audio context. Yeah, I'm not going to be using a lot of audio stuff for what I've got, so maybe it's not something to worry about. This time it stopped at 206 at least, so maybe that's a good sign. I'll maybe keep this up in the background. No warnings in console production build. Actual behavior. Seeing over 200 identical warnings. Let's say yeah, I don't want this to go on a single, or I want this to be allowed to wrap, so I'm not going to do the 3 backticks. Steps to reproduce. And I should probably figure out what the right way to get the production build working is. How do I set the node environment? Set the node environment variable here. Set the process.env node environment. I would guess that if it's running on like a Heroku or something like that, it would automatically do that, but I don't know how to set the, yeah, where do I set that? So how I've done that in the past is with a .env. Maybe that's what I need here. So let's create an environment variable file, and then maybe I can do it without being quite so hacky. So I'll say .env, that's our environment variable, and we're going to say node environment equals production. Okay, and now if I run it, it should actually be development when I build. So let me test that theory. So here if I run it, it should be the development environment variable because it shouldn't be set at all. So it'll run development, and then this will be the development build and not the production build. So this should turn from black to red, if my theory is correct here. This will take a minute to run. Okay, now that it's run, I'm going to serve it. And localhost 5000, it should, yeah, reload. Should be red now, if I'm understanding this correctly. It is. Okay, cool. So I'm understanding this correctly, at least to some extent. But I'm still getting this. The audio context was not allowed to start. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. Yeah, maybe just take a screen capture of that, and that's what I will upload. I'm going to stop that though because that is a crazy number of errors. Steps to reproduce. Okay, so what I did was one npm install, 2 was npm run build, 3 was serve the static files, serve static files with service build, and for navigate to 5000 and open console. And this time it was over 2,000 identical warnings saying that. This is Mac OS and Chrome. I don't know what version of Chrome I have. Let's see about this Mac. I've got 10.13.4. And I wonder if this is in settings. Click more, click update Google Chrome. If you don't see this button, you're on the latest version. Click relaunch. No, I'm interested in which version I have. Help about Google Chrome. And then I will take that image and put it in here. All right, so I hope they found that helpful, but I am going to move forward. So that was trying to build it and trying to serve it. I'm not really sure what that's coming from, but now I'm going to try to make some progress on my project and add some routing. Okay, so let's npm start and see if we're able to do some development here. Project is running on this port here. Here. And this says wait until bundle finished, so maybe it's not finished yet. Maybe it's not ready to be loaded. Compiled successfully. I was just hoping it run a development version. Yes, okay. Is this the development version? Yes, this is a development build. Oh, I'm getting this in npm start too. I'm going to edit this then and say the steps to reproduce. So this is in production. And it's also in development. In development. And this is only 2 steps. So this is npm start. I doubt anybody's looked at it yet. Okay, good. Yeah, here I got 134. I wonder if it's like when I click off or when I do something else. Oh, maybe it's when I refresh. Is it just at the beginning? Is it as soon as I click try it that it happens? That it goes away? Here I'm not getting it at all. Try it. Is this when I start getting it? Huh. I really don't know what's causing that. Okay. But again, what I'm going to try to do now is git branch or git checkout dash b. Checkout dash b feature routing. Oh. Feature routing already exists. Oh, it's only at 2. Maybe I'm talking about the wrong one now. Oh, geez. All right, let's exit out of these. Try this again. CD to test GUI, because this is the one that's most up to date. CD into scratch-gui. And we're going to try to npm start this. And now we're getting issues with sock.js, I would guess because I've stopped the server for the time being. Okay, 8601, here we go. Let's do a hard refresh here. Oh, it's probably going to take a minute. Compiled successfully. Okay, here we go. So we have compiled successfully, and now what we're going to do is we're going to try to wrap this entire application in some routes. We're going to see how well that works. So components was somewhere. I'm going to get rid of this .env because I didn't actually end up using that. So delete file for now. And here we've got our feature routing. And interesting. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe I'll download GitKraken to see the history a little bit clearer. But for now, what I'm going to do is just jump into EX, this one. Yeah, okay. And where is this being brought in? I want to know, like, what is kicking things off? GUI. Where is everything starting? Initial default. Oh, this is internationalization. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Index.jsx. Here we go. Okay, index.jsx. So React DOM.render GUI. Okay, that's where everything is. So I want to put GUI inside of another component. So I'm going to take GUI and move it inside of another component. So maybe it's inside of Playground that I should do this. Playground. All right, well, I'm going to start it here, and maybe I'll need to move files around in a bit. But this will be, it's like a navigation container. We have containers up here. All right, where is this GUI coming from? It's coming from containers GUI. Okay, yeah, so it's coming from containers GUI. So what I'm going to do is inside a container, I'm going to create a new file. And it's going to be my it's like a page container. My routing container. I'll just call it navigation. Navigation. And you know, we've been going for a little while, and so I'm going to go ahead and stop, and then this is where I'll pick back up.